There we go. Welcome to day 42 at the media availability. It's a little different today, being here in the afternoon. We had committee hearings all morning and all early afternoon, and a lot of bills actually came out of committee, so there was a lot of good work done there. And so this is probably one of the final nights when we do the majority of the remaining Senate bills. So we'll be here a little later tonight and hopefully get through. I think there's over 20 bills on the board, maybe a few more than that. So
quite a few are circled right now.
Yeah, quite a few are circled. There's only 9 or 10 that aren't. So there's lots of work being done behind the scenes. You can feel it, and we'll be here probably until we get done tonight. So open it up for questions.
So where are you at on the budget? Because it sounds like the House and Senate are not quite on the same page on this one.
We're trying to get on the same page, and we've been working on it. So we've got a budget that we're going to try to pass tonight. I don't know, Senator Stevenson, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, we were in close agreement last Wednesday, and we've got a budget based on those things that we did then, and I think the Senate's going to go ahead and run that budget.
But the House is not going to go with it, or what's going on?
We don't know.
You probably asked them that. I think they're being, we understand their view. I think they're trying to be very responsible. I think everybody's concerned about the structural imbalance we've talked about all session long. So surely understand some of their concerns.
We spent some time this afternoon correcting that structural imbalance. We moved a lot of money from ongoing funding to one time. That only works once, but it'll get us into where we have an opportunity to go through a budget process again.
So, I mean, the House has said that they're not going to fund a lot of asks until this structural imbalance is fixed, or unless they address this, which is the tax modernization. I mean, what does that mean when it comes over to the Senate to reconcile?
We'll keep talking. We've talked for, what was today, 40-something day. We've talked for the last 42 days, and we're going to keep talking for the next 3 or 4.
What's it going to take to reach a compromise on this? That the House is withholding $400 million. The governor says he supports a modest budget that just handles core stuff and sets aside money for a tax cut. You want to go ahead with what you were initially doing, which did that include the $75 million tax cut, the majority budget approved last week?
No, it didn't. I think the tax cut was basically going to apply to the tax reform bill. So I think we're holding that. I think, as we mentioned earlier, and at least that's my understanding. At least in our bill, we're not applying that tax cut in our bill.
But are you setting aside that $75 million? No.
We are right now.
Okay, so what is being passed by the Senate will include a $75 million held for a tax cut in special session.
Tax cut, or we may,
There's some. Excuse me.
Go ahead.
Interrupt you, but there's some discussion going on right now about, that $75 million, do we hold it? What does a special session look like if you come back in? And are there more ways to solve the tax issue that we were talking about, or the imbalance that we have, than just looking at it the way it's been looked at? And the answer to all those questions is probably yes, yes, and yes.
And yet the House, in their caucus and in meeting with Democrats in their caucus over there, spelled out very clearly that they're passing the House version, slimmed down, skinny, the low carb, whatever. That is $400 million less, and now you've got the governor on board with this idea of a more modest budget.
So we'll see them pass, one from our body to theirs and theirs to ours, and we'll keep working.
You've seen this on a lot of bills. It's just a little bigger than we usually work with, but there's bills passed back and forth all the time that we don't have agreement on, and we come back together and get something done on it. So.
But this has pretty serious implications for a lot of entities, from public education to public safety to arts to all the stuff on your list, they've passed out that list that shows what your budget would fund and what their budget would fund, and a lot of stuff's gonna, especially fiscal note bills, are gonna be in trouble. Senate just passed a $3 million presidential primary that wouldn't be funded probably under this
Sure.
proposal.
Well-
There's a lot of people in the hallway that are really nervous. I was joking, I've been dispensing a lot of anti-anxiety meds this afternoon,
So,
The key words there was enjoy, he was joking. Okay.
But what can you tell of those folks, President, that are worried that they worked hard through the regular process and now their funding's in jeopardy or going to be cut?
in the Senate budget, their funding exists, and so we're going to keep working. I believe that both bodies are closer together than perhaps what the two bills might depict. The Senate wants to be responsible in making sure that we solve the structural imbalance. There's a commitment. We talked about it in caucus, and our caucus is 100% supportive of whatever measures are needed, whether it's a special session or we even talked about trying to do something in this session still. But we're supportive of trying to solve that. And so I think the House is also. So I think we're actually together. I think maybe the means is a question as to whether we're together on. And I actually, I know the House wants to maintain an orderly government, try to maintain the agencies and a functional. I think they're trying to do their best too. So, as we work through it together, we'll hopefully find a solution.
What could still be done this session
Well, we've talked earlier. I'm not sure, but we were working on some things, but I'm not sure we're going to pursue them now. Okay.
What were you working on?
We'll tell you later. I think if they were public, you'd know about it before now. We'll keep working. Okay.
Okay, but
got to keep a little suspense in this, don't we?
I think we have enough suspense.
You got to have a little drama.
yeah, but so there's a chance you could still get some kind of a tax reform package through.
Probably not now. But we were working over the weekend. Okay.
Was it very similar to what was proposed in terms of expanding taxes to services?
A different way. Okay.
What would be a different way than that? Just raise the tax rate?
We'll probably talk when we're ready to about that one. Okay. So.
What about what the governor had to say, the governor's spokesman, Paul Edwards, saying that they support a modest budget that provides funding for core services and sets aside money for a substantial tax cut?
I mean, any thoughts, Senator Vickers?
No?
I don't want to throw any rocks.
Yeah. I again think we're all trying to do the same thing, just a little different way.
It's a little different track than we started down the 1st of December.
Well, I mean, the governor's started in December with the modernization proposal that did what the bill would have done in terms of expanding sales taxes to services, but also called for a $200 million cut, which he upped to 225, along with when the speaker brought that up.
The speaker upped him, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
That was the end of January.
Yeah, right before the. Is there any chance you could still see a $200 million tax cut out of
No,
all
we're
this?
working right now. I don't know. We know I've been all afternoon working on this to try and move some money, which we've done.
So anyway.
Whether that's satisfactory for everyone, I don't know.
So other questions?
I wanted to ask, Salt Lake City Mayor Jackie Biskupski has now filed a lawsuit against the governor, against the Inland Port Authority, and against Derek Miller, challenging the creation of the inland port. Any response from the Senate?
I just read that, so it's news to me, and it, hopefully, I don't think it's not great news. I think we hate to see lawsuits, and the inland port is a significant potential for economic development, and whatever the disagreements are, I think we're all hopeful they can be resolved.
Let's do one
Personally,
last
Ben, I'm
question.
just happy not to
Okay.
be there.
One last question.
One more question. Need to get back on the floor, so we've got a long night yet tonight.
What happens process-wise with fiscal note bills? At this point, you're just gonna pass them over to the House and,
Well, that's the normal process, and they pass theirs to us. I think their process is, as we pass our fiscal notes to them, they actually just send them to the Rules Committee until we know they're funded. In our body, we normally table them on third, so the House fiscal note bills are tabled until we know they're funded. And so that process would be the same regardless of what we're doing. But at some point in time, we have to decide which fiscal note bills we are going to fund and which we are not, and then run those. So that's still something we're trying to work together on. So again, appreciate you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you all.
Thanks. Okay. Thank you.